everyone and welcome to another Stargate lore video. Today we're going to be talking about Unity.
Whoa! Captain Dr. Teal'c? Yeah.
Unity is a race of blue crystal life forms from the planet P3X562. At some point in their history, their world was visited by the Kool with a scouting party. The Unity tried to reach out to these visitors, not knowing the danger. Kerr, in turn, was eager to take the crystals, believing he could use them to enhance his technology. However, when he touched one of the crystals, it sent out a massive energy blast that killed him. In response to this, his first prime had all the crystals rounded up and destroyed, and... I'm sorry, every time I hear that, all I can think of is this.
It's a frickin' quarry! It has rocks in it! Is he attacking the rocks?
Only 100 of the Unity survived the slaughter. However, one of the Unity took the form of Lord Kerr and followed the Jaffa through the Stargate, taking his place. What did this Unity do next?
Good question!
The next major event we know that happened to them was in 1997 during the events of Cold Lazarus, when SG-1 came to the planet. The remaining Unity tried to hide as they feared these newcomers would attack. However, when Jack touched one of the crystals, it rendered him unconscious. Fearing that this would lead to a repeat of what the Kool did, this Unity tried to heal Jack. But it found his greatest pain was not from the physical injuries it inflicted on Jack, but from something in his heart, for his son Charlie was not there. It took on Jack's form and returned with SG-1 back to Earth to find Charlie, hoping that by bringing him back it would heal Jack.
You rocks think you're so smart.
But physical death does not mean the same thing to them as it does for humans, so it didn't understand that Charlie was gone, and nothing could bring him back. Unfortunately, there was a bit of an issue. Some crystals were brought back to the SGC and they were able to make contact with Unity and learn their history. However, they also learned that Earth's electromagnetic field was stronger than the Unity's homeworld and they couldn't survive on Earth, as their energy would begin to break down and release lethal levels of radiation. In the end, they were able to find the other Jack, who took the form of Charlie, and return him and the rest of the crystals back to their homeworld. Afterwards, they would become allies to the Tau'ri. While I describe the Unity as crystalline beings, it might be more accurate to say they are energy beings who inhabit crystal bodies. As for what these bodies are, I have no idea. Now, admittedly, I am not a geologist.
Geology isn't a real science!
Sam first said the crystals look like granite and not volcanic, and later said they were crystal quartz. Again, I am not a geologist, but I did do some research on this, and I am really confused. See, granite is a type of igneous rock which is formed from cooling magma or lava. You know, the stuff that tends to be around volcanoes and volcanic activity. Though granite is an intrusive igneous rock, meaning it is formed underground from magma. So when she says it is not volcanic, she could mean that it was not formed from lava or is not an extrusive rock. Maybe that is the right way to say it if you are a geologist, but it sounds really weird since there are other types of intrusive igneous rocks. The other confusing part is that while there is quartz in granite, from what I found, granite and quartz crystal are not the same thing, at least according to Home Depot. Again, I am not a geologist, and I'm not going to pretend I understood half of what I read, so let's just say their bodies are crystals and move on. They gain nourishment from their planet's electromagnetic field. However, this seemingly has made it so they can only survive long-term on worlds that have similar electromagnetic fields to their homeworlds, as ones with stronger fields like Earth will cause their energy to break down. They have the ability to manipulate electromagnetic fields and energy, allowing them to reshape their bodies to imitate other species. They can gain memories of other species through touch, a possible ability to heal others, along with being able to project energy from their body as destructive bolts. Thanks to the Fantastic Frontiers Stargate Season 1 RPG rulebook, we learn that the Unity have become divided into two factions. My best guess is this happened after they met SG-1, but I could be wrong. The two factions are the Unity Pacifists and the Unity Vengeance Seekers. The Pacifists are healers and friends of the Tau'ri. While they blame themselves for their first encounter with the Kool, they also realize the System Lords must be stopped to prevent others from being slain. As their name suggests, they prefer peaceful solutions and typically abhor violence. As such, they prefer to fight the Kool indirectly, hindering the efforts of the System Lords rather than fight them militarily. The Vengeance Seekers, by the way that name is awesome, believe that it is both fair and right that they actively and directly attack the Kool. They've launched many devastating attacks against the Jaffa, and even have developed a specialty to become assassins and hunters who seek the Kool themselves. They prefer to strike with the help of other species, such as the Tau'ri. Since both groups are allies to the Tau'ri then, I don't think they actively fight each other like with the Ritu. So this is a weird section to add on, and it has to do with how I've done research up until this point. When I look up information on Stargate, my three main sources are Gateworld, Fandom, and the Lexicon on the Richard Dean Anderson website. Out of the three, Fandom is the only one that delves into the external media, which is good since I often don't have access to these external media. However, that does make Fandom a secondary source. And I've often felt that Fandom doesn't give as much detail as they could. Case in point, after I wrote the script and recorded it, I found PDF versions of the old RPG books on the Internet Archive, so I was able to read the first-hand sources. Now, for the most part, the info in the previous parts of the video does hold up, but there are some key details I wanted to add that Fandom didn't mention. For example, there is a third faction, kind of, the Unity Explorers. These are Unity who have taken on a physical form to explore the galaxy, being curious and inquisitive by nature. We also learn a few more key details about the previous factions. For example, the Vengeance Seekers do have a strange relationship with the Tau'ri, as they have been known to be brutal and to show no sense of pity or mercy. They are not zealots as they can be reasoned with, but this only partially offsets their desire for vengeance. For the pacifists, we learn that the O'Neill copy was one of them, and they take the self-blame to the next level, as some pacifist groups have been known to destroy each other to prevent harm to an outsider, with some considering them to be martyrs for doing this. We also learn what that Unity who took the form of Kerr has been doing, working toward a single goal: the eradication of the Kool, using Kerr's domain as a base to attack the other System Lords. But unlike the Vengeance Seekers who make an active point not to harm innocents caught in the crossfire, this Unity has no problem doing so. While having early success, he has pulled back his forces, realizing that if he pushes too much, he would bring down the full might of the System Lords on him. His crusade has lasted for centuries, with not even the other Unity knowing what he has been doing. In terms of their biology, it's important to note that each Unity does have individuality, but they are all linked together telepathically, creating something similar to that of a hive mind. While a world with a strong electromagnetic field will cause their energy to break down, a world with a weaker electromagnetic field will cause the Unity to become lethargic and sluggish, and eventually causing them to fall into unconsciousness or even their sentient mind to dissolve. It is possible for Unity to train itself to double the amount of time they can spend in these other environments. The Unity don't reproduce. It's more like they evolve as crystals grow on their planet. These crystals will harness the electromagnetic energy of the planet until a consciousness is born as it learns how to manipulate this energy. The more evolved the Unity's consciousness, the greater power and control over said powers it has. Unity is... I think the Unity are really...
Any theories, explanations, anything?
Okay, it's really hard to say how I feel about Unity because I don't really feel anything, except for the Vengeance Seekers. That name is awesome and they should be brought back only so we can see this group in action. They appear in the 6th episode of the first season of SG-1 and weren't mentioned again till 10 years later during Atlantis. And despite being given more info about them in the early RPG books, the new one has no information on them at all. And this book has a reference to the Sekhmet, a race made in the early RPG books they believed was worth including, but not one in the show? That sucks, especially since I found this to be a really good episode about Jack's past. It reminds you that for all the jokes and one-liners he gives, he holds a great pain behind that smile.
I know what it's like. You can't. I lost my son. I know.
They just kind of fall into the barn of aliens Stargate made and never used again. But what do you all think? Do you like the Unity and would like to see them again? Or do you think it is a good thing that we never saw this race again? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, leave a like and subscribe, follow me on my social medias, and remember...
You cannot change what happened that day, just as I cannot change the day that the gold destroyed my world.